Okay, awesome. So once that has downloaded and installed, what we can do is we can change directory into our folder, into our project. So cd heroes right here. We can list out the contents right here. So what we're mainly going to be dealing with is with this source directory here. This is where our project lives. So what I'm going to do is type in code, full stop, and that will open up the Visual Studio text editor within this directory, which is pretty awesome. And what I'll do is I'll have Visual Studio open on the left and the documentation on the right, and we'll go through it this way. Okay, so if I check out here, I'm going to make this full screen, increase the size, and so we can see this is our project right here. So we're in the source directory. We have our index.html page right here. That's all looking good. This is our base ref. So we're saying this is the index page. We're looking at, this is a pretty important one. We have an app root right here. What does this mean? This page looks very empty. Well, what we're doing is we're directing Angular to load this component right here, which is the app component.ts, and you'll notice that this selector is the same as the one that we have in this right here. So basically what we're saying is load the component with the same selector as app root, and it just so happens this is the same selector, so it's going to load this component. Okay, so that's pretty awesome. Let's open up the page and see if it works. So we can type in ngserve, hit enter. If you're doing this from the documentation from the very beginning with Angular, you just type in npm start, and so every time I say ngserve, you just do npm start. Okay, so right here it's just compiling all the TypeScript files and building everything out, and so that's pretty cool. And we'll just wait till this is finished. Sweet, that worked out very well. So click back into our browser. I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to bring this over here to the right side of the screen, and what I'll do is I'll basically go into our local host right here, and now we can see app works. So that's basically confirmation that your installation has worked. Okay, you might, if you did from the documentation, you'll get some other name besides app, but it's just going to render something saying that it works. Okay, so good job. That's the first start. Let's get cracking on the documentation right now. So this is your file structure. Yep, this is our file structure, npm start. Okay, cool. So now we want to do is add in a title property and a hero property. Let's do that in the components. So right here, now I hope that's big enough. That's just not doable for me, so we'll just work on this side. Title, and we're going to call this Tour of Heroes. That's looking pretty good. And we'll give this another property, and we'll give it hero equals windstorm. That's pretty cool. And now we want to change this template right here. So we're using a template within the component. And right here we're saying template URL, which we're directing it out to the template file, which is just which is in the same directory, out one, and then into the component.html. So we're going to change this to template URL, or sorry, just take out the URL right there. Keep in the single quotes, and we'll add in our h1 tags right here, h1, and let's extract the value of title. Close off our h1 tags right here. Add in a h2 tag. Is it? Yeah, h2. And get our hero. There we go. close off our h2 tags right there, and space and then details. Save it. Let it recompile. So what you're going to see is basically the terminal is going through the recompile. It's all looking good right here, and then we click over and this is going to change. It says loading. If it ever gets stuck on loading, open up the console and see what you did wrong. So yep, that's looking pretty good. Windstorm details, yeah, we got all that. Okay, so what we could do is, whatever, we could just add this in within the h2 tag right here and close it off. Save that and let's keep going. So right here we're using a one-way data binding right here. So the curly braces tells our app to read the title and hero properties from the component and render them. This is called interpolation from one-way data binding. Okay, cool. So now we want to add in a hero class, and so what we'll do is we'll add this under the import right here. We'll do export class hero and add in the body right here, and we give it an ID and give it a number. So we're saying ID is of type number, and we're going to say name is of type string right there. And so what we want to do is underneath the title, I'm going to take out, I'll just change this. So we'll say hero is of type hero that we just specified above with the capital H. And then we're going to say that is equal to this. And I'm going to give it an ID of 1. And a name of Windstorm right there. And then what we'll do is just take out this semicolon and then close it off. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. What we want to do now is, because we are no longer just getting hero, what we are doing is we're going to get the hero.name. Okay, so hero.name, save that, let that recompile, and then we'll have everything up showing correctly. Okay, so it's saying this is what the template should look like now. Add in your hero.name and refresh the browser. So that has recompiled, and you can see that that is working correctly. Here we go. Cool. So that is working out pretty nicely. Let's keep going. We're doing some good coding right here. So what we want to do is add in the hero.id as well. We want to get the property of the hero.id. So what I'm going to do is add in some backticks right here. Backtick, and go over to the single quote over here and add in the second backtick. That's to the very left of the one on my keyboard. So you just do the same. And here we are. Okay, cool. So it's all looking good. What we want to do is, so after we get the details, we want to add in another div right here. And we want to add in a label tag, and we say ID, space, close off the label. And then we want to get the hero ID. So what we're going to do is get the property of the hero ID using one-way data binding. Hero.id. And then we want to close off our div right here. It's all looking good. And we want to open up another div. And we want to add in a label. And we want to give it a name. Space. Close off our label again. It's looking good. And what we want to do is add in the hero.name. So hero.name, hero even dot name, and close off our div. Okay, so that's all looking pretty good right there. Nice one. Save that. So now they're basically just drawing your attention to the backticks for multi-line template strings right here. So that's how we enable to do this right here. So it's all looking good. Editing our hero. So let's refactor the label with an input right here. So as you can see, this took a while to refresh, and then we have the ID and we get the name as well. But what they want to do is they want to edit this. So let's go over here and change the label, and we'll take this out. And what we'll do is basically underneath the label name, I'm going to hit enter right here and add in the input value, and I'm going to say that equals hero.name, and then we're going to give it a placeholder which is equal to name, and then close that off right there and save that. Okay, so what they're going to say is okay, we can see it in the browser, we can see the input box, but we can't edit the hero.name in the h2 tags. So what's going on? Well, what we need to do is use two-way data binding. Okay, so for that we are basically going to change out our input tag, and we're going to make some adjustments. Okay, so before we can do that, we need to import the forms into our app module right here. And so if I go over here and go to the app module, click on this, and what you want to do is add in the forms module. Now we already have this imported because we use the command line interface. As you can see on line 3, we already have this, and we also have the H3 module, but don't worry about that. And so for people who are just following the project instructions, just add in the forms module right here and add it to the imports right there. Don't worry about this H3 module right now. That will only become relevant in about 5 or 6 videos from now. So yeah, once you have that imported, let's keep going. Back to the app component right here, and what we want to do is learn more about the forms and ngModels. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what we want to do is let's update the template to use the ngModel built-in directive for two-way data binding. Okay, so this is going to enable two-way data binding. So right here, what we're going to do is take out this value right here and use the square brackets for data binding, and then we add in the parentheses because it is an event, and we add in ngModel right here, and I'm going to take out these curly braces right here. Save that. Let that recompile. Cool. So now this is going to load the... There we go. Awesome. Right. So now we can edit this, and we can say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, details. Right. Cool. So that is a nice start anyway. And basically there's confirming, look, this is what your app component should look like now after this. So yes, ours does look like this. The template has just I've just put the label on its own line, but bar that, it's all looking pretty awesome so far. And yeah, so there we go, the roadhead. Next, we're going to add in more heroes, and so we'll get started with that in the next video.